Today we're gonna go through armor presets and which ones are the best. Is it 3 Treacherous, 2 Savior, 3 Savior, 2 Treacherous, or is it 3 Treacherous, 3 Savior? Let's find out. And we're gonna compare Lunar Suffix together with Crescent Suffix. Now before we jump in, I want to quickly explain how Lunar Suffix works. If you're going to be ending up using 3 Treacherous pieces, there's the thing you need to worry about is the HP ratio. If we divided our HP right now, like this, you will see that we got a perfect ratio. This gives you the most damage with Treacherous pieces if you get this number. However, if I change an armor piece, like say like this armor piece, you can see that I don't have a mod on it, I don't have hides on it, and it's only 1 star and 1 calibration. When I do that, I'm going to change my HP, and if I divide it again, you can see that our ratio is higher. The number we had before was this, which is correct, and now we have higher than 0.4, which is bad. If you take a look at my weapon damage bonus and my status damage bonus, it's going to increase as I equip this armor piece. As you can see, 78 now, 96.8 weapon damage bonus. This is increasing due to the rush hour stack, 4%. The game thinks we are below 60% HP, giving us extra 4% weapon damage and status damage. On top of that, we're also getting extra 1.2% weapon damage from Lunar Suffix because Lunar Suffix works the same way as rush hour stacks. Equipping this back, so now we have 96.8 weapon damage bonus. And if I did 96.8 minus 5.2, we can see that it exactly matches the number. So that's basically how Lunar Suffix mods work. Every 10% HP, you will gain 1.2% weapon damage, of course it's gold, and crit damage, you would be getting 3% every 10% you lose your HP. Now with Treacherous pieces, you can see that we have crit damage 80%, and if I remove my rejuvenating top piece mod, it's gonna go to 56. That is 24 crit damage that we lost. Now, if I remove the Stormweaver mask here, making our HP ratio correct, I have 83 crit damage, and if I remove the mod, you can see we are at 56. That is 27. With Treacherous pieces, you will be able to get 27 crit damage maximum. You will not be able to get the full substats as 12% weapon damage and 30% crit damage because with Treacherous pieces, you're sitting at this amount of HP here. Obviously, if you lower your HP to this amount, you can see that I have 90% crit damage. If I heal up, I go to 87. So I am already at 27 crit damage, basically. If I just decrease my health a little bit more, you can see I get the maximum amount. So with Treacherous, you can get maximum from Lunar Suffix only if your HP is going to get lowered here or if you take damage. Of course, if you're sitting at full HP here, you're going to be getting only 27 and 10.8 weapon damage bonus. So that's really the case with Lunar Suffix for Treacherous pieces. So that's why we will have 27 crit damage here, 10.8 weapon damage bonus here. Now for Crescent Suffix, with Treacherous, you can only get your shield by summoning your deviation, and that alone will get you 10.5 crit damage. You cannot max it out at 15, obviously, because you cannot get up to that shield. So as you can see, I have 82% crit damage, and if I summon my deviation, it goes from 82 to 92.5. Which as you can see, that's 10.5. And of course, if I unequip the mod, we're gonna go down to 72. And as you can see, that's 20.5. The 10 crit damage comes by just equipping the mod without any conditions, and you get the extra by having the shield. Instead of 3 Treacherous, you could use 4 Treacherous, but you will have even less damage because you won't be able to utilize the 2 Savior pieces, which gets you 10% weapon damage. So it's not worth to use 4 Treacherous pieces unless you're seeking more survivability. Okay, so now the last thing you need to know is that weapon damage and crit damage is capped. But one bug with Crescent Suffix mods is the elemental damage substat is bugged. As you can see, I only have 18% elemental damage and I'm supposed to have 23%. Like, we're not getting the 5%. That's the bug. However, there's another bug on top of that bug, which makes it even better. Basically, you get a 0.8% elemental damage every 5% shield you trigger, which is uncapped, so you can get as much as you want. Alright, so here's an example. We're gonna get our shield maxed out quickly. Spawn our deviation. Ice cube. And now, let's unequip every single armor piece. Look at my shield. It's a lot. Yep, I know. And now, look at my elemental damage. We have 37.2 elemental damage, which if we take the 18%, minus it with 37.2, we're getting 19.2, which basically is 24 times. Because every 5% we get 0.8 elemental damage. We're getting 0.8 24 times. Basically our shield is at 120% of our max HP. And since we unequipped our armor, the shield didn't get updated. Now if I refresh the stats, you can see we have even more. And that's really the bug. I'm just showing you that elemental damage is uncapped and you can get up to 100% elemental damage if you can keep just getting more and more shield. All right, so let's do it again this time. I'm gonna stack my shield again. All right, we have a lot of shield. And now you can see I'm gonna equip this. And our elemental damage is 97.2. Let's minus that. Basically, we have 79.2. Basically, we can divide this. We can divide the 79.2 out of 0.8 and then multiply that by 5. You basically have a shield of 495%. Yeah, that's cool. So yeah, basically you can see that elemental damage is completely uncapped with Crescent Suffix. And if I keep refreshing, it's 65.2 now. I have no shield, by the way. If I shoot again, this elemental damage is going to go up even more. This elemental damage is just going to stay. If I unequip the elemental damage mod, you can see everything just disappears. So that's really the bug with Crescent Suffix. If you're using 3 savior pieces and you spawn a deviation and you stack your armor set bonuses, you will get 14.4 elemental damage. This is the cap you should be at. You should be getting 5% flat and then 13%. But since it's uncapped, you're actually getting more than that. And now if you're going to be stacking with rejuvenating top piece, deviation, and savior stacks, you're going to be getting total of 18.4 elemental damage from the Crescent Suffix gloves mod. So just that alone beats Treacherous, and you can only get 5.6 elemental damage with Treacherous 3 pieces because you can only summon the deviation. Of course, you can see with 4 Treacherous pieces, I am at 67.1 elemental damage. If I summon a deviation and I have 4 pieces of, for the shield, that gives me 20%, I will have 76.7 elemental damage bonus, which that is going to be 9.6. So yeah, if you were using 4 pieces of Treacherous, you would be getting 9.6 here. Basically, it's a mess if you're going to be using Treacherous. The thing is though, I don't recommend using Crescent Suffix if you're running 3 Treacherous pieces. I only recommend to use it if you're using 4 Treacherous pieces. Basically, with Crescent, this is not enough because you're getting only 8.2% status damage and 5.6 elemental from 3 pieces of Treacherous. While if you were using Talons, you would be getting 6 status damage and 8% elemental. So use Crescent only for 4 pieces of Treacherous. Now, if we take a look at 3 savior pieces, 2 Treacherous, you can see that we're getting 10% status damage total from Crescent Suffix and 18.4 elemental. Oh my god, that is already beating Treacherous by look at this. 34.4 elemental damage here, and here we have 50.4. If you take a look at our status damage here, Treacherous actually has more due to the armor giving 38% here, but Savior 1.8 less. However, Savior gets extra 10% damage type of enemies damage because when we reach a certain amount of shield, which is this cradle right here, shield protection, you're getting literally 10% enemy damage, which of course is going to outnumber the damage for 3 pieces of Treacherous right here, and 3 Savior is going to win against 3 Treacherous, 2 Savior. And yeah, 3 Savior and 2 Treacherous will win against 3 Treacherous, 2 Savior. You can see that this is the damage difference here. In Elemental, Treacherous has more status damage, less elemental damage, 10% less normal enemies, and yeah, that's the damage. Now let's test the damage actually in game. So initial first shot, we do 1525 damage with 3 savior pieces, 2 Treacherous, and 1 earthly boots. You can see that our stats is 920 psi intensity. The mods I'm wearing is all golds, and they're all the same on the Treacherous pieces as well. So there's no different substats or anything. Everything is completely the same. 2 pieces of Savior, 3 pieces of Treacherous, 1 earthly boots. Let's see the damage, how much we will do for the first shot. We do 1494. So that is already lower than the Savior. However, as you saw, we started the first initial shot with 4 stacks. What about if we have no stacks? It's already so obvious that Treacherous will do more damage because we're missing the 20%. So here we go. First shot, we will do 1283. So with Savior pieces, of course, you have to first stack up these damage buffs, which is easily done. You just need to shoot 4 times and boom, you already have those stacks. So that condition is very easily achievable. You don't have to worry about it. All right, let's stack our shield now. Let's see how much damage we will do if we stack our shield up. We do 1806 with fully stacked shield. That's already way more than Treacherous 3 pieces. And now, of course, the rejuvenating top is not counted. Let's count that in, and let's see how much damage we will do with that. All right, let's stack our shield up. Throw the cube to get our rejuvenating thingy going. Let's shoot this guy. Now, as you can see, we do 1904 without any mark. So you can see that the damage is matching over here, 1905. It's 1 point off because the way the damage is rounded, it's literally the same. And now if I equipped 3 Treacherous real quick again, and now let's summon a deviation with 3 Treacherous pieces again and shoot this dummy here. You see we do 1645, which again matches the damage, is off by 1 point because of the rounding. So there's the comparison. 3 Savior, 2 Treacherous is winning against 3 Treacherous, 2 Savior. And no matter what build you use, the 3 Savior is gonna win. Alright, so that's it for this comparison. Now let's compare 3 Treacherous, 3 Savior against 3 Savior, 2 Treacherous. This one is a little bit more interesting, and you can see that it does way more damage than 3 pieces of Treacherous. So the reason why 3 Treacherous, 3 Savior might be good is for people that are beginners that want to play a low HP build but do not want to play with 3 Savior pieces yet, because you're literally 1 HP. Every single fight you take, you're going to be 1 HP. So you're forced to utilize the shield stacks and to survive with that. And that is quite hard. You actually have to time it. And you know, as time passes, you lose these shield stacks. So this is why 3 pieces of Treacherous and Savior might be an option for you until you learn how to play and then swap to Savior. But basically, 3 Treacherous and 3 Savior gets extra status damage, and we lose normal enemies damage. So we cannot use 30% early boots to get more damage. So with Treacherous, we can stack shield like that and lose HP. And when we lose that amount of HP, we're also getting more stacks from the Lunar Suffix. Now, if we tested the Lunar Suffix, you see we have 95 crit damage. I remove this. We now have 65. So we're basically maxed out at Lunar Suffix with 3 pieces of Treacherous and 3 Savior. 3 Treacherous and 2 Savior is dead. That is just gone. And the new meta is 3 Savior, 2 Treacherous. And if you don't like 3 Savior, 2 Treacherous, stick to 3 Treacherous, 3 Savior. Because with 3 Treacherous, 3 Savior, you can still get this Cradle activated, because you can summon the deviation and you can stack your shield as well. And of course, when you stack that amount, you can put rejuvenating on the top piece, which will also give you, you know, more shield and will also heal you if you are not full HP, which actually is a downside. Yeah, it's gonna help you survive. So yeah, you can see that the damage difference with 3 Treacherous, 3 Savior is a little bit less than 3 Savior, 2 Treacherous. Okay, so now if we removed the vulnerability on both of them, we made the normal enemies damage the same, because this is early boots, 30%. Now we have equal amount. You can see that 3 Treacherous, 3 Savior does more damage without mark than Savior. But that comes at a cost. If you're using Abyss Glance or something, you cannot really use 3 Savior, 3 Treacherous, because you want the Covered Walker to pull enemies for you, which makes them die quicker, rather than if you were going to be shooting scattered mobs with a gun. Well, it's going to take you way longer to do and clear the room. So I only would recommend 3 Treacherous, 3 Savior only for boss rooms. It's going to do less damage than 3 Savior, of course. As we saw, if you're marking, you're going to do less damage with 3 Treacherous, 3 Savior than 3 Savior, 2 Treach with early boots. This is early boots here. So yeah, I only recommend this armor if you're a beginner and you're struggling with survivability. Now, lastly, the crit damage is basically, again, 3 Treacherous, 2 Savior is gonna have less damage than 3 Savior, 2 Treacherous. Why? Because we're getting the extra 10% for Grey One's damage when you stack enough shield, you know, this Cradle perk over here. And as you can see, we have only 10 and 10-5 crit damage from Crescent. Well, here with Savior, because you're going to be 1 HP, Lunar Suffix is going to be utilized fully, which is going to let you get 30% crit damage for the top and helmet, and you're going to be getting the max amount, 50% crit damage from the Crescent Suffix, while here you're only getting 10.5. So in total, that's 85 crit damage here, while on Treacherous, it's 74.5. So it's clear that Savior wins again this one, because also if you didn't see, Savior gets 36% weapon damage from Rush Hour, while Treacherous would max is 24%. Heck, it could be even 20% if the ratio is bad, as I showed you earlier at the start of the video. Alright guys, so if you're playing a build, if you're playing Boom Boom, slap on that 3 Savior pieces, 2 Treacherous, slap on that Rejuvenating on the top, slap that Crescent Suffix on the gloves, and there you go. That's all you need. Lunar Suffix on the helmet top, bada bing, bada boom. That armor pieces apply for every single build, so that's basically the meta right now. The devs just force us to play this armor. Okay, and now lastly, some people use 3 Savior 2 Shelterer, and let me just tell you that you are losing damage, because here you can see the comparison. We have 148 elemental damage, 200 status damage, and here we have 212 status damage, 140 elemental damage. These are not needed. You can see that elemental is losing by this amount of damage here to 12% status, 2 Treacherous pieces. So no matter what, just use 3 Savior and 2 Treacherous. Unless, I don't know how that would be possible if you have 58 elemental damage bonus. unless your elemental damage is like, you can see I have 108 here and 100 here. This is like balanced, both literally give you the same result. But if you had like 98 elemental here and 90 here, this 2 shelter piece is going to be higher. But dude, you have to have 90 elemental. Like, how is that? So if your elemental damage is so low, then yes, you can use 2 shelter pieces. Alright guys, that's it for this video. I hope this was helpful to help you decide which armor is the best. To save your 2 treasures. And let me know what you guys want to see next for the next Once Human video in the comment section down below. Join my Discord if you haven't yet, or if you have any questions, you can leave them down below in the comments or in my Discord. I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care and peace out.